The unsettling stare. Tyler's constant staring made me uncomfortable. At first I thought it was just paranoia, but there was something in his eyes that felt wrong. He watched my every move in our shared apartment, and no matter how much I tried to ignore it, the feeling of being watched never left. One day, I confronted him about his behavior, but he just kept staring at me with an unreadable expression. "Tyler," I said nervously, "your staring is making me uncomfortable. Is everything okay?" He didn't respond. He just sat on our worn-out couch and maintained eye contact without blinking. The silence was deafening and a chill raced down my spine. That night, sleep wouldn't come due to the lingering sense of being watched behind my closed door. Soft noises from the hallway only intensified my unease. By morning, Tyler had disappeared, but his strange behavior continued for another week. While I cooked dinner, he would watch me from the balcony blinds, or even stand at the foot of my bed during restless nights. I started to wonder if Tyler had some hidden agenda. We were still strangers more than roommates and knew little about one another. His actions felt dehumanizing, as if he was studying an alien creature rather than a human being. The thought of what could be going on in his mind during these disturbing surveillance sessions was terrifying. After 3 weeks of increasing discomfort and countless sleepless nights filled with fear, things took a horrifying turn. A scream woke me one night, an unnatural, haunting sound. As soon as I opened my eyes, Tyler was on top of me, attacking me. The sheer strength of his grip surprised me. His face twisted into something ancient and monstrous before everything faded to black. When I came to later on, Tyler was gone and the apartment was destroyed. Furniture overturned, chunks of drywall gouged out of the walls, and bloodstains on the floorboards. I forced myself to a stand, only to find a gruesome scene before me. It didn't take long for me to realize that the mangled remains in front of me were not from an animal, but rather a human. I noticed a human jawbone among the entrails. That's when I saw it, a giant figure squatting in the corner eating raw flesh. It rose to its feet gradually, exposing itself as the being formerly known as Tyler. It shrieked and lunged toward me with talons where its eyes should have been. Shaky on my feet, I attempted to run but blacked out as the creature towered above me. When I woke up, I was in a dim room that smelled of mildew and damp concrete. I lay on a cold, rusty metal table, my body throbbing with pain as I tried to make sense of my surroundings. The room was dimly lit and filled with mysterious figures whose distorted limbs cast eerie shadows on the walls. It felt as if I'd stumbled across some sort of ritual chamber. In their midst stood the largest figure, its massive form covered in matted hair and scale-like armor. A voice drew near, speaking the words, "He awakens," as it transformed into a figure that bore a striking resemblance to Tyler's old body. The harsh overhead lights revealed a mouth full of jagged teeth and 2 empty sockets where eyes should have been. "And now the festering awaits its metamorphosis," it continued, "as the merging transcendence sanctifies this husk into its rightful ascendant glory." At that point, I realized the chamber was littered with human remains, evidence of past rituals involving disfigurement and transformation. From Tyler's empty eye sockets, tendrils emerged. They moved across my body, each contact causing a cold shiver to shake my spine. My nose filled with the smell of ozone and something foreign. Fear tasted like metal on my tongue. I knew from reading countless cosmic horror novels that their goal wasn't simple curiosity, but something more sinister. They didn't view me as a subject for study, but as a breeding ground for the terrifying being they'd called forth from the darkness. They emitted a low hum. My body was set to change, to evolve into a vessel nurturing their celestial resurgence. The air felt heavy with this looming prospect, punctuated only by the soft sound of their probing limbs and my heartbeat pounding in anxious expectation. Terror swept over me, a surge of horror that eclipsed my worst nightmares. My terror wasn't solely about perishing. It was the immobilizing thought of losing my identity and becoming a vessel for extraterrestrial monstrosities. I resisted as the entities drew nearer, pushing back against the relentless dark onslaught. Their twisted forms were adorned with throbbing outgrowths that morphed into sharp tentacles that seeped a repulsive fluid. They towered above me, pinning me down as the liquid burned at my skin. "Embrace the infinite," Tyler shouted, his voice echoing from what seemed like every direction. "Honor lies in rebirth before all is consumed." A barbed tongue, sharp as a row of rusty nails, erupted from the vacant cavity that was once Tyler's eye. It lashed out with a sickening squelch, its spiky surface grinding against the charred remnants of my chest. The sensation was like sandpaper doused in acid, each spike tearing through the burnt flesh and burrowing deep into the raw tissue beneath. An involuntary scream clawed its way up my throat, ragged and hoarse. Their grip on me tightened, the fingers digging into my skin like steel talons. Then there was no more them. The mass of bodies merged in an unholy fusion, limbs intertwined and faces blurred into one grotesque entity that bore no resemblance to anything human. Its form pulsated with a sickly glow, twisting and writhing, struggling to contain the monstrous energy within. The creature's mouth opened wide, revealing rows of jagged teeth glinting ominously in the dim light. A low growl rumbled from its depths, vibrating through me, causing every hair on my body to stand on end. Then it began to consume me. It started slowly at first, a nibble here, a bite there. Each touch of its teeth sent waves of agony coursing through my body as I felt pieces of myself disappearing into its gaping maw. But before long, it wasn't just biting anymore, it was devouring me whole. My vision blurred as I was drawn further outside of my body. My dulled senses were overwhelmed by the stench of rotting meat and sulfur. And then everything went black. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Thank you for watching.